right, welcome back everybody. Well, this week we're going to tackle some early Who. This is I Can't Explain by The Who. This is all the early Who great 12-string electric greatness that Pete Townsend gave us so much of in those first few records, and I think this was their first hit. And he played a Rickenbacker 360, I think, or maybe a 330 12-string, which has the sort of bigger body, but I've got a 620, and that will have to do. So I'm going to take you through his electric parts, both the rhythm and lead, break them all down for you, and we'll go from there. So if this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, please jump down, click subscribe, ring the bell. Bell will let you know when I drop new content. I do that every single week. All my videos have chapters in them, so you can jump right to the part of the lesson that you want to see and bypass what you don't. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, I appreciate that. There's thanks, just like throwing a tip in the tip jar, or even better, you can join my Patreon page where I've got chord charts and tabs for all the lessons I do on YouTube, just like this one. Links in the description, so check it out. All right, so Can't Explain. So step one, if you got a 12-string electric, get your 12-string electric. You tune it standard tune. And in terms of tone, for me, I don't think there's sort of a lot in terms of like, it's not really overdrive, you know. I mean, he played loud, but the tone on this one for me, maybe edge of breakup, maybe, but the key sort of piece in the signal chain for me is to have a compressor on it. It really just sort of puts everything in a box and gets you that great attack, I think, that you're hearing on the record, at least to my ear. I'm using a Script MXR Dynacomp, but all the details of my signal chain is going to be below. I sound like this. All right, so that's what we're going to do. All right, so you saw that there. They're mini bar chords. You know, we're playing the small bar chords up here on the 7th fret for the E, down to your D, A, big bar chord, back to your E. And that's it. And it's very tight, just like that. In fact, I think they're touring right now. He plays it on his 6th string now, and he plays that last E down here. He goes down there right now, but we're concentrating on how he did it on the record, right? So that's your sort of chord shapes. That's going to take you through, well, the intro and the verses all the way through. It's the exact same formation. And it carries all the way through, you know, the first half of the verse, it's that. There's no change in his guitar playing during all that. The vocal harmonies come in to start filling it out, but it's just the exact same guitar format until you come to the pre-chorus, where that last little phrase ends like this. On your B chord, right? So one round of normal and you get to this. Right before we go to our chorus. So that's that whole framework. And then your chorus, we're going to go down to our open cowboy E chord and a C sharp minor. And the next two chords are your 4 and your 5 chord, your A and the B. And what he does is he plays this piece of your A chord up here. And he's going to alternate in the suspended 4th, I guess, and slide it up to your B. Same way. So the chorus again. God, that sounds so full, right? And then you're back to your riff. And we're going to go into our first guitar solo. Now there's 2 guitar solos in this song. First one's going to come in here. And the second solo later on is going to be twice as long as this one. Both of them are going to feature an important E7th chord phrase that he uses a lot. and it's this shape. So if you haven't played an E7 like this before, that's what he's basing it off of. Many of you know E7 this way, or this way, or maybe even this way. But you can add on sort of the, you know, the bottom half of your E chord with this D-shaped E up here. But that's going to be the piece of that. That's going to be an important chord that we'll come to in both of these sections, okay? But he opens it by doing this sixth interval. And we've all heard this before, right? If you've got an E chord like this, you know, the sixth interval oftentimes is played, doesn't have to be, but it's played on the third and the first string. You work your way up the E major scale. That whole thing we're familiar with. Right? Those are all sixth intervals. And he's going to open his guitar solo with that. He's going to slide up and do the E, sixth interval. And then he's going to slide it down to the D position, because that's what's happening on the chords behind it. During that E, actually nobody's playing chords behind it, but musically, then the D is the next chord, so he's going to come down to here. He does a quick hit on some open E and B strings there, and he's going to fret this A power chord. And I think he catches that again, and then hits your E note. And then we're going to make our E7 shape. So that first little part, okay? And then we're just going to stick on that E7th position, and he's going to hit that 3 times. And then he's going to flatten it down to like an A. And then do these little trills, these little pull-off, hammer-on pull-offs on, on the 2nd fret, on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th strings. Which match exactly with Keith Moon's drum fill right there, which, I mean, you don't, maybe they were playing it that way in rehearsal, and Pete knew he was going to do that, because when is Keith Moon not doing a rolling drum fill, right? But it's just a happy, you know, I don't know if it's a happy accident or whatever it is, but Pete's little riff there matches the drums perfectly. So let me run through that whole thing slowly real quick. So that's that. Then we're back to our formation. Pre-chorus. One more chorus. This time on the chorus, he's not going to do the same suspended thing. Although if you do that, it's going to sound epic. He goes to the more traditional rock and roll based off of the big bar chord. He does that. He does one of those. So you hear that, you know, you hear that over the A. And then the counter melody you hear against the B is but I don't think he does that big spread. I think he catches that open D string, the open D string. Right? That's all it is. It was just very easy when you hear that isolated. He's just having fun with it, which puts you in perfect position to go right back into your chord, which is where you're at. Runs through that a couple times, and then we're going to solo number 2. Now, solo number 2, again, is going to feature our favorite E7th chord. The way he gets into the solo, he does these 2 quick hits on the lower E string, because he's coming off of this. As he's coming down here, and he just slides into our E7th riff. That's that. Just sounds epic with this 12 string. It's like, wow, it sounds just like the record. Then he's going to land on our favorite E7th chord, and he's going to hit that thing 10 times. He plays with the timing a little bit, but he just nails this chord. And then comes out of it. Does some little flare down there on the E and B note. And then we're going to do this thing where he's going to go around again now, twice as long. He's going to do some unison string playing on the, he's going to slide up on the 3rd string. I think he might be catching that string too, but. And if you listen real close, he actually hits this note. And I think what he's doing is, or something to that effect. And then he's sliding up on the 5th fret on the 2nd string now to get that E note unison. So he starts with the B note unison, plays around, and then ends up on the E note unison. All that is. That was sloppy as hell. Let me do that again. Or you can shortcut it. And then you're back in. One more. Give it that big E chord to end that sucker. All right. Well, that was I Can't Explain by The Who, and I hope you learned something new today. So if this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so yet, please jump down, click subscribe, ring the bell, give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this. And if there's another song you want me to take on and do something similar, let me know what that is too. But until next week, take care, everybody.